All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Career Q&A with All Faiths Children's Advocacy Center. I'm your host, Vanessa Garzon, HR generalist and recruiter here at All Faiths. I'm here with Kim Brown, our Director of Wraparound Services. All Faiths has been a part of the Albuquerque community since 1956, growing and changing, but always abiding by our mission that we are the trusted advocates for children and families that have been affected by trauma. I'm proud to say that as an organization, we are constantly evolving and changing with our community's needs and have so many wonderful programs. Now, Career Q&A is an opportunity to spotlight these amazing programs, talk to someone from All Faiths, and we always encourage people to ask questions. During this Career Q&A, we encourage viewers to type in their questions in the chat, and we will answer them towards the end of this segment. One of the programs that we are spotlighting today is our Wraparound program. To talk to us about the program today, please welcome our Wraparound Director, Kim Brown. Kim, thank you for joining us.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right. So, Kim, you have been a part of the All Faiths team for almost a decade now. Talk to me about your journey with All Faiths.
Sure. So I actually started back with All Faiths in 2015. I came on board as a community support worker working in the CCSS program. And that was an awesome journey for me. I was able to work with a lot of youth and families, helping identify resources and connect them to support. And I think I stayed in that department for about a year. And after that, I transitioned into some other career opportunities for not a very long time, but about 3 months. And while I was out searching, honestly, I just couldn't find anywhere that really felt like home to me. All Faiths was so nurturing to me. There was nothing that kind of matched up for me. So I eventually ended up making my way back to All Faiths. And in 2017, I was rehired as the first wraparound facilitator for All Faiths. Um, and I was able to be a facilitator for a couple of years, and through lots of transition and growth opportunities and lots of mentoring from leadership, I then transitioned as a wraparound supervisor. And then still working through my journey, I am now the program wraparound director.
Wow. So you have seen Wraparound from its conception here at All Faiths all the way to being a director. That's really incredible. So you oversee the WRAP department. Talk to me about what Wraparound is about.
Sure. Wraparound is really seen as intensive care coordination, and it's really about supporting services and systems that youth and families already have in place and helping to identify any new supports that they may need. It's really about maximizing on what's already in place, whether that's in community, what supports they have. It's really about trying to make that more effective for them and really not just throwing in services, when we experience or we work with youth and families who experience trauma, but really slowing down that process and saying, well, who's already involved, whether that's a natural support or a system that they're working with, and how can we all come to the team and collaborate through a very specific process. Wraparound is not a service, it's really an approach and a philosophy that we take in trying to support youth and families.
That's something that's very unique. And it's super important to have that in our community. So can we expand on that a little bit, on that, on it's a philosophy, not necessarily a service, but why is Wraparound so important to have for youth and families?
Wraparound is really important because it's really a community-based and team-based driven approach. So really kind of what I was mentioning is it's about bringing together the supports that we already have in the community, and bringing together the team members that youth and families may already be working with. For example, this can be like natural supports. It could be their auntie, their coach, their best friend. It could be formal supports, whether they have a probation officer, a CYFD worker, or a therapist. Really bringing everyone together to the team to help youth and families achieve what we call a vision, which is where they see themselves at in the future. Wraparound is so important because it really gives families and youth a voice in their own. Um, I think oftentimes when we work with families and youth who experience trauma, a lot of times being in this field, we're fixers. So we try to throw in strategies and services. Wraparound is really about youth and families telling us what it is they want for themselves. They are the experts of their own lives, is what we say in Wraparound. So it's really about them telling us what's going to work, what hasn't worked, and what are they ultimately willing to do. And us as supports really trying to put that in place. We really try to embrace the values of wraparound, which there are 11, and I'll kind of talk about a little bit later with you to share. But really trying to embrace those values to bring supportive team members together to really collaborate to help these youth and families meet their needs and achieve their vision.
So the phrase that is used is high fidelity wraparound. What does that mean, that whole phrase together? And what does high fidelity mean?
So in the wrap world, high fidelity really means that we are true to the model, and we stick to the process. So I think with anything that we do, there's always going to be hurdles and it may not always be sunshine and rainbows, but high fidelity in wrap means that we stick to the process and we see it through. Wraparound is really an evidence-based approach. And through all of the data over the years, whether it was in the state of New Mexico or other states, we've seen that staying true to the process is that it works. We've seen lots of success with youth and families. So really with high fidelity, kind of what I talked about is we have those six, core elements that we stick to within our process. And through that high fidelity is we stay true to those, and we will see it through of working with these youth and families. So hopefully that we'll see success for those who come into wrap around.
So how does it start? How can a child or a family participate with wraparound in the state of New Mexico?
So the starting process is we receive a referral, and referrals are found on the Center of Innovation website. This is for wraparound throughout the state, including us as an agency. And you really go on there, you get a referral. It also has contact information for all the wraparounds throughout the state, including us. And then the referral comes directly to us, or, here at All Faiths, families and youth can reach out to any one of us in our department or our agency, and we can help get a referral filled. But basically, we get a referral, and upon receiving that, we check for criteria. And a little bit of that criteria that we look at is that youth are ages 0 through 18. We can go up to 21 if the youth is already enrolled prior to their 18th birthday. They have to have severe emotional disturbance or severe mental illness diagnosis. You don't have to come to us with that, but that is something that we would evaluate within our own agency as well to see if youth are eligible or meet the criteria. We also look at there's current or historic multi-system involvement. So really meaning if youth have had any type of involvement in 2 or more systems. So it could be current or past, like CYFD, if they've had any involvement in juvenile justice, any type of special education services, or if they've been involved in any type of behavioral health services. So like case management, BMS, the CCS worker, therapy. And again, it could have been current, it could have been 10 years ago. And the other thing that we look at for requirements is functional impairment. And that can be in education, housing, vocational, legal, or developmental disability. So we check for all that criteria upon receiving a referral. And then once we receive it and we verify, we try to do all this in 48 hours. And once we get that referral, we do something on our end internally, and this is kind of across the state and wraparound, is called a CCT. And that's really where we reach out to the youth and family and we try to get whoever is already involved in their team, and with their permission, whoever they would like at the table. We try to meet within that 48-hour period. And this is a time where we really explain what is wraparound? Why was this referral made? Is this something that they're interested in? Wraparound is a completely voluntary program. So at this time, we really try to explain and make sure that this is beneficial and this is something they're open to doing. This is also a time where the youth, family, or any team members can ask questions, maybe things they don't understand about wraparound, or what does the process look like? How would this benefit? How often do we come together? And then upon getting approval, we get consent from everyone that they're interested in participating. And within that 48 hours, a facilitator is signed and we are rocking and rolling to do wraparound.
So kind of following that train of thought, and thank you for really explaining that referral process. That really allows a lot of clarity. Can a family self-refer?
Absolutely. Referrals can come from anywhere. They can self-refer. A friend can refer them, a family member. It can be a provider, a formal support referrals. We can accept referrals anywhere. Youth can even self-refer themselves.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. Say that we have a youth that is having some trouble adjusting or even meeting the goals that were established. What are some strategy that Wraparound implements in order to help them?
So we don't necessarily, I don't have like solid strategies that we do because in wraparound, it's very individualized. We really follow our process of kind of what we're talking about, staying true to high fidelity. So as youth and families come in, we identify a vision of whatever the youth and family feel is their vision, where they like to see themselves in the next 12 to 18 months. And then we really talk about their underlying needs and, that's being the barriers. Why do they feel they're not able to achieve this vision? What might be getting in the way? And then as we build their team, we come up with strategies that might be able to fulfill some of those barriers. So it's really based on kind of what they identify as their, underlying needs, what's getting in the way of them achieving that. And we also do something in our rep process is we really focus on benchmarks. This is a way for us to measure, are these strategies working? Are we seeing success from these strategies? And if we're not, then we're able to go back to the drawing board together as a team and identify new strategies. So it's really kind of geared on a one-on-one basis, depending on who we're working with and really what is their vision and ultimately what are the underlying needs.
You have been with the wraparound program for some time now, almost a decade. What are some of your successes that you can share with us?
I think there has been lots of successes from the
So,
time wraparound started to where it's at now. I think one of them that I will share is I think as far as crisis de-escalation, something that we have with wraparound is we offer an after hours on call. And I really have seen success in that. I think the intention behind it is, oftentimes when we work with youth and families who experience trauma, some of these youth, when they have a crisis, rather than us slowing down and seeing what type of support, they sometimes get sent to residential treatment centers or to the detention center, or they get hospitalized because, we're not sure how to de-escalate. With our on-call crisis, we've been able to see a lot of success in not only teaching these youth and families how to utilize their own safety plan and really follow these de-escalation techniques, but also maintaining a lot of these youth in their homes, in their placements, their communities. We've been able to avoid, having youth having to get hospitalized or police having to be called or removed from their placements due to, having a crisis. Rather, we've been able to teach those skills, and I think that has come such a long ways from where we started. So I think that's one of the huge successes I've seen. Um, and then also, I would just say that the process truly works. I've seen so many successful youth transition out of wraparound and achieve their visions with their families throughout following the process. I think it is definitely a journey because best practice of wrap is about 12 to 18 months. So we spend a lot of time with these youth and families, and sometimes, it is not the easiest conversations or they are not the easiest hurdles to get over. But I think through sticking through the process, I would say its success is that I have seen a lot of youth transition and achieve their vision.
that is quite a few successes that you just shared. Thank you for sharing and congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you.
At All Faiths, we are always talking about what is your why? Why do you come and do what you do? Why do you keep coming back through those double doors? So Kim Brown, what is your why?
Um, I think my why is kind of what I just talked about a little bit is that I truly believe in the process. I think there are lots of trials and tribulations that everyone goes through, and I think a lot of the youth and families that we've encountered in the beginning of RAP, have shared with us that they feel hopeless. And I can say through doing the process of wraparound and the philosophy of wrap is I truly believe that we instill and give back some of that hope to believe in, that we're going to help them achieve their, vision and overcome their barriers. So I think my why for me is seeing that, is seeing the process work all the way through itself. I know it's not a slow or easy process, but I think seeing that and truly believing in it and that we are making a change for the youth and families that we serve.
As director of the wraparound program, you have a whole team that you oversee. Talk to me about the roles on the team and what is their role in the agency?
Absolutely. So within our department, we have two endorsed coaches who are our wraparound supervisors. And their role is really to provide that support to the wrap facilitators. They provide coaching and they ensure kind of what we've been talking about, that wraparound is being done to fidelity, that our facilitators as well as us as a department are staying true to that process. Our endorsed coaches also, along with me, we also go out and do a lot of outreach. A part of our role is trying to go out in the community and really spread the word of what is wraparound and how does this benefit, whether it's to providers or to youth and families. How does wraparound benefit everyone, and how do we kind of collaborate and team and work together? Also in our department is we have our number one awesome wrap facilitators. These are our staff who go out and they do the really hard work. They're working with the youth and families. They are the ones who are ensuring that we're doing this process, that we're identifying visions, that we're safety planning. They meet with their youth and families every single week. And every 30 days, they have what we call a team meeting, which is where we bring together all the team members at the table and we talk about what is the vision, what are the underlying needs, and how are we all implementing strategies. One of the big things that our wrap facilitators and that we do in wraparound is they really highlight on strengths. We are such a strength-based approach. So a part of the wrap facilitators is every time they meet, we're seeing what strengths does everyone bring to the table and how can we build off of those to help these youth and families meet their vision and overcome their barriers. So our wrap facilitators are day in and day out the ones kind of doing all of the work of going to see the families and meet with the team members on a weekly basis. And that's kind of sums up of who we are in our department. It's all really collaborating and teaming and working together.
So on that note of collaboration, how does Wraparound collaborate with other members of the agency, of the All Faiths Agency?
I think very similar to how we would collaborate with external providers. I think we have several different departments within our agency, and within Wraparound, we really want to try to, again, maximize what supports and services are already in place. So, for example, if a youth has therapy within our agency or case management or a CSW, a wrap facilitator, their role is really bringing them to the table and seeing, what are they working on? How can we be a support of that? How can we maximize on this service? What are areas that we might be able to help support the youth and family? So really lots of collaboration and seeing how can we all work together again to help these families and youth meet their needs and achieve their vision.
So Kim, what is the overall goal for individuals participating in Wraparound?
I think the overall goal for individuals participating in wraparound is we really want to see them achieve their vision. We really want to help them when they come in and identify what is their vision. I think a lot of times when we get youth and families, they don't even know right off the bat what is their vision. So we really want to be that support to help them identify what is their vision and then really connecting them to supports. Again, whether that's in the community, whether that's their natural supports, their family, or their formal supports, their therapist, their JPO, really connecting them to supports to help them overcome these barriers. So it's not all just on the youth and families to achieve this on their own, but really that they have a team built up around them. And through it all, we want to see them be successful and remain in their communities with supports and resources, so that even when wraparound's not involved, they still have these supports and resources and are able to be successful within their own communities.
What is the overall goal for the Wraparound program?
I think our overall goal for the wraparound program within our agency is really to provide service, and well, not service because we're not serving, but really provide as much support as possible to as many youth and families as we can among the two counties that we currently provide wraparound in, which is Valencia and Bernalillo. And I think ultimately our goal is to continue to grow and expand to be able to provide more support. We're looking at right now starting our second Bernalillo County wraparound team. So we're looking at bringing on another endorsed coach, as well as 8 more facilitators as we continue to grow. And I would hope for the future that we continue to expand in Valencia County as well, and high hopes maybe in even other counties.
Sounds fantastic. As someone who wants to potentially join the Wraparound team, what are the qualities that you are looking for?
For someone joining the wraparound team, I think one of the qualities we look for is someone who is kind, has cultural humility. I think someone who's dedicated and this work is driven by because this is their passion. Ultimately, they want to help youth and families succeed. I think one of the biggest things for me, and it's kind of a joke, but I say is that they come back. I don't think that this is easy work. So I think it has to really be something that someone is passionate and invested and they're willing to, sometimes do the hard work, but show up the next day knowing that they are really making a difference and a change for the youth and families that we serve.
Absolutely. And that definitely reflects with the all faiths, the qualities that we're looking for as an agency. We're looking for people with passion, purpose, and a working understanding of what is their why.
Right, right, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open this up to our audience in order to ask us questions. And we do have one question, Kim Brown. So I am a case manager in the community. What can I expect when working with Wraparound?
I think as a case manager working with a RAP facilitator, they can really expect kind of what I mentioned is that collaboration process. So a RAP facilitator will really reach out to the case manager and really try to identify what needs have they been working on with the family. What are other needs that they may have seen with the youth and family that they haven't been able themselves to fulfill, that they could really use some tag teaming, or that they know that this is part of the barriers of this youth and family achieving their vision. Something else I think that you can expect is being a part of our team meetings. So as I mentioned earlier, we have team meetings every 30 days, and they potentially could be sooner based on the needs of the youth and family. But really being a part of those, and in those team meetings, it's where we all come together and we talk about what is the vision of the youth and family. And it's a time for everyone to identify strengths, strengths of themselves, strengths of the youth and family, really talk about, even small successes that we've seen over the weeks. And also in those meetings, it's a time for everyone to identify what are some of the underlying needs, what are the barriers, and really for a collective process for us to identify strategies. And not only just throwing out strategies, but really identifying who on the team who can take that role on. So being a case manager, we might identify some needs as a team that the case manager, that is their expertise, that they are able to take on those strategies and support that youth and family in. So I think it kind of varies again on what the situation is for the youth and the family, but it's like a general gist of what a case manager could expect being a part of a RAP team.
So Ken, previously you talked about how children and families can participate and self-refer and the referrals that come in into Wraparound. What are the requirements in order to be part of the Wraparound program?
A few of them are what I've mentioned earlier, and I'll just kind of go over them again, is that we really look for youth who are 0 to 18. And again, they can go up to 21 if they're enrolled in Wraparound before their 18th birthday. Something else that we look at, because overall, again, our goal is really trying to keep these youth in the community, is at risk or historical out of home placements. So that's something that we really look that's really big as part of the criteria, is if youth are at risk of leaving their placement or if they've had out of home placements. We also look for a severe emotional disturbance or severe mental illness diagnosis. Again, current or historic multi-system involvement, a functional impairment in education, housing, legal, vocation, or developmental disability. And the other thing is that youth have to have New Mexico state Medicaid. Unfortunately, right now we cannot take private insurance. So it has to be active New Mexico state Medicaid. And that's something that we also can help look up to verify when youth and families reach out to us. And then if youth and families don't have it, but they qualify, that's also something that will support in navigating them to fill out that application.
So Kim, All Faiths Children's Advocacy Center is a trauma-informed organization. So how does the Wraparound Department participate in trauma-informed care?
Well, for one, I think wraparound is a trauma-informed practice, but I would say that um, by following our values, and one of those is really because we are individualized and we know that families come in with trauma and different experiences, is we really try to meet youth and families where they're at. Really trying to provide support of where they're at. You don't try to ask them, to that they have to have this or they have to do this, but really just meeting them where they're at and respecting everything that they come with, whether that's their own personal beliefs or their own personal values. Even in situations if families just need us to be a listening ear in the moment, really we try to provide that as well, and respecting of all the different experiences that they may have had prior to coming to wraparound and that they will have in wraparound. So really just trying to, I think, be supportive through a trauma lens and respecting the experiences that they've encountered and still providing that support.
So Kim, how does Wraparound work within the state of New Mexico?
So the High Fidelity Wraparound program in the state of New Mexico is overseen by CYFD BHS. And right now it's in several other counties, not just the two counties that we oversee, but um, there's several different counties that are doing High Fidelity Wraparound, and that is listed and can be found on the Center of Innovation website. And I know the overall goal that I think the state is working towards is really trying to eventually, in the next few years, expand wraparound in every county in the state of New Mexico, really allowing youth and families to have access to wraparound by getting organizations all across the state to start practicing and providing wraparound.
And that contact information for the Center of Innovation will be in the description. If you feel that you have passion, purpose, and a working understanding of your why, consider reaching out to All Faiths in order to make a difference in your community. We are always posting our new and updated positions on our Indeed page, as well as our website that will have the link at allfaiths.org. We have multiple generous benefits of health, dental, vision, 3 banks of PTO, including vacation, sick, and DEI/wellness days. Our company culture really focuses on the trauma-informed approach. And we are always looking for people who were willing to participate and really be a part of that dynamic. We're always looking to hire more talent. If this seems to be something that you would want to do, or if you have further questions, please feel free to reach out through our website or send us an email at hr@allfaiths.org, and keep a sharp eye on our Facebook postings. And finally, a special thanks to our Director of Marketing and Producer, Regina Alderette. Without her brilliance and collaboration, none of this would be possible. Kim Brown, thank you so much for being a part of this Spotlight Q&A and just telling us all about the wraparound program. Thank you, everybody, for your time and attention. Tune in next time for our next Career Q&A Spotlight.